Hello, everyone. It's Pastor Jane here with the pastor's message for the week of April 10th. This week, I just really want to make sure I'm inviting all of you to our Holy Week calendar. Holy Week is a time when we live into the story of Jesus' death and resurrection, which is our story, the promise that we can move from death into new life. And there's so many ways throughout our life as we struggle, as we find pain, as we have sorrow, as we have mourning or depression, and as we suffer the death of loved ones or even our own weakness and sickness, that we need to know and hear this good news that God is not only with us in the death, but that God will move us, and from the death, new life will spring forth. It means something different in every experience and situation we have and different from person to person. But this is the central story of who we are. And so this week comes around every year as we move towards Easter to remind us of the good news of God's promise, of God's presence and God's redemption and God's saving us from basically utter destruction. During this week, I know that there are hard and scary parts of the story that sometimes as parents, we want to shelter our kids from those. But the church invites us to bring our kids to this story. And then for us as the church to tell it and share it in such a way that kids can also hear the good news that God is present with us in the hard times, and that God will walk with us through those hard times, and that God will restore us to goodness and wholeness, even though those good times have happened. So no matter how young your kids are, we want to make sure you know we want you to bring them to our gatherings this week. There will always be something special, a special focus, a special story, a special engagement with our kids to help them learn and know this story. So our Holy Week schedule is Sunday, April 14th is Palm Sunday. We will gather for one service on that day at 10 a.m. And then Maundy, Thursday, we have an agape meal with a sharing of dinner, as well as hearing the word and hearing the story of the Last Supper and of Jesus washing feet, sharing Holy Communion, sharing prayer time, and living into that final time when Jesus had time with his disciples before the next day when he faces his death. In between the end of the service on Maundy, Thursday, so Maundy, Thursday service starts at 6. Again, it's an agape meal with dinner included. The end of that service, so starting about 7 until noon on Good Friday, we have folks signing up to keep watch with Jesus for 1 hour, as Jesus invited his disciples to stay awake for 1 hour with him. You can sign up for that here at church or call the office and get your name on the schedule. We will have folks keeping watch here at church. You can also keep watch in your own homes. So please do sign up for that wonderful time of prayer and keeping watch with Jesus. On Good Friday, we will have a Stations of the Cross at noon, and that will end the time of our Keeping Watch with Jesus. And then at 6 p.m., we will gather together for our community Good Friday service. On Saturday, the night of Saturday begins at sundown, actually begins Easter. And so we will have our great vigil of Easter, the starting of a new fire as we bring the light of Christ into the darkness of the sanctuary, and we hear our salvation story, and we hear the story of the opening of the tomb. So the celebration on Saturday night is like if we were present there when the tomb opened and discovered that Christ has risen. And so we bring bells, and it's a great celebration. Easter continues the next morning. We'll have an Easter breakfast from 8:30 to 10, but also we will have our Easter service, which is like the family celebration when the family gathers later on that day to celebrate that the good news that Jesus has not been defeated by death, that God's love wins. And that Easter Sunday celebration is at 10 a.m. So please mark your calendars, and we hope to have you here often as we live in this story together and walk this journey with Jesus, walk this way of love. Wins even over death. Have a great day, beloved community, and we'll see you soon.